Hey everybody, this is Keisha with Lakisha Keene Saving Greens, and you are watching my channel. I welcome you if you're new here. If you are new here, then I encourage you to click that subscribe button because I have a lot of things that are coming up. Today, I wanted to share with you guys a couple of projects that I'm working on. So, in my last video, I was talking to you guys about seaweed and the use of seaweed in your garden and how I plan on experimenting with seaweed. This is going to be my first time using seaweed. And then I also said that I'm going to be experimenting with something else. And that something else, you guys, is alfalfa pellets. Now, I've been watching a lot of videos, YouTube videos. I've read some information about this and the benefits that it has for a garden. So I'm curious to see if that stuff is true, for one, and how well does it work. Is it worth me buying alfalfa pellets every year and to use this instead of trying to use other methods of fertilization for my plants every season? If this works, and it works well, then it will eliminate a lot of cost out of our pockets. Because I know a lot of people use amendments and stuff that they buy at the big box garden centers. And I try and steer clear of those. I try and use more natural methods of composting and manures and things like that in order to fertilize and feed my soil, thus feeding my plants. But if alfalfa pellets work as well as they say, then instead of buying a whole bunch of different things, it would eliminate a lot of things. So we'll see. I have high hopes for it, and right now I have some that is soaking in some water because I want to break it up and use it, mix it with the soil. That's what that big bucket right here is for. So I can mix it with my potting mix over there to plant my strawberries. So today I'm going to be putting some of this alfalfa pellets in my garden boxes outside, and I'll take you along with me. One thing that I like to do here on my channel is experiment, and I'm not afraid to experiment with stuff. That's why in my last video you saw me using seaweed in my garden. If seaweed works really well and fertilizes and it makes my plants happy, then I will use a lot more seaweed for my garden and process it like that every year for my garden. If the alfalfa works better, then I'm going to use the alfalfa. If they both work well, then I plan on choosing whichever one had the best results, and using that in my garden or using them together as a combination in my garden. So I do have high hopes for this alfalfa though, because it makes sense. Everything that I've read and watched makes a lot of sense as to what it adds to the soil, and it's cheap, you guys. I bought a 80-pound bag, which I have a picture of this alfalfa was $17. And I don't even know if that's the cheapest. That might be a little high for this, but I don't know. I've never bought these before, so I'll be interested to find out how much did you pay for it if you've used this in your garden or if you use it for your animals. I'm sure I've seen that people use those alfalfa feed pellets for rabbits. It's all the same for whatever livestock that you use these for, horses, whatever. So I'd be interested in seeing if I can even save more money on the product itself. But anyways, you guys, I'm going to get everything set up and we're going to go outside, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to apply these alfalfa pellets to my garden. So as you can see, it's cloudy. It was cloudier than this. It was supposed to rain. And I was going to get this out before the rain, so the rain could help break up the pellets, but it didn't even rain. So anyways, so as you can see, this is the bed that I put the seaweed in. And I have seaweed in 4 of these beds. These are my tomato beds. And this is all along tomato row. It's just a long row of the same size beds that I have lining my chicken run here to keep my chickens from escaping. They always seem to find a way to escape. So in this box and 4 more boxes like the same as this one, I'm going to apply these alfalfa pellets to. Now I prefer the no-till style gardening or method of gardening and no dig, because I can just layer, chop and drop like all the weeds and stuff, the grass, whatever, and then layer on top of it, and everything that is chopped and layered on top of becomes a food source for the soil to feed the worms and soil life. So I like that method, and I prefer that method. So all I'm going to do is just sprinkle some of these pellets, and some of these pellets are really long. I mean, you can break them. And I wasn't going to go through and try and break all of these. But I'm just going to fill this up with them. And then I'm just going to sprinkle them in here. And where they fall, they fall. And when it rains, which it doesn't rain that often in my area, so I might, when I'm out watering other things, I might just help speed up the process a little bit by adding some water to this. But from what I saw, that much is all that's needed. And this is a 1 foot by 8 foot bed, in case you were wondering. And from what I was told, you can be as generous with this as you want. But when it's exposed to water, then these little, let me pick up this one because this one is long. I'm going to break it anyways. These little pellets or capsules will start to puff up. And that's what it's doing in that bowl of water that I showed you inside before we came out here. So that'll break up, and over time it will feed the soil life here, which then will feed my plants. So I'm interested to see, I'm excited to see how this is going to work. The only bed that I'm going to leave without seaweed and without alfalfa pellets is this last bed right here. This bed, I'm only going to put some of the super poop that I get in this one. So that's all it's going to get is the super poop. Now, the super poop, I know it's done really well with some of my plants, so I'm not really testing that one or putting it through the trial along with the alfalfa and the seaweed, because I already know its potential. And that's why all of my beds are getting topped off with this super poop. But I want to see if these alfalfa pellets is going to add some additional benefits in the seaweed, if it's going to add some additional benefits to my tomatoes. So all of these beds are still going to get topped with the super poop. It's just 8 of these beds are going to contain either seaweed or alfalfa pellets in them. So that, my friends, is what I'm doing this season for my tomatoes. Last season, my tomatoes did good. They grew. Some fruited. Some succumbed to disease. Some succumbed to the weather that we had. We had a lot of high winds, and some did break, and I had to start them over, and so I didn't get like a whole bunch of tomatoes from them, but I got enough that I was able to make some spaghetti, pasta sauce, salsas, things like that. I was able to can some of the tomatoes and stuff. So I was able to do some stuff with it, but I didn't get a chance to really try every variety that I had planted. And then when the tomatoes did grow, they didn't grow as big as I seen them in other videos. So I know they didn't reach their full potential. And I think that was because I had a lack of nutrients for them. I only used a bag of raised garden bed soil mix, and I added a little bit of this let's see, this bone meal to it, and a little bit of this blood meal. Let's see if I can get it to sit up so you can see it. And a little bit of that blood meal to them as I planted them. But that was all that I fed them. So hopefully this year I will have a decent amount of tomatoes, bigger size tomatoes. So we'll see.